What's going on, guys? TKD123 back over video, and today I want to talk about the brand new album I just reviewed this week. This album I've spent a couple of days with, around 5-6 days, and overall I've had pretty much a pretty good amount of time with it. I would say it wasn't as much as the other albums I've reviewed, just because there's a lot of things going on with school and work and stuff like that. So I kind of didn't have a lot of time to listen to this album overall, but I feel like I have a pretty good grip of it, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So without further ado, this is my review of Culture by Migos. Now, if you were to ask me, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, hey, you want to review Migos album? I would probably say no, just because, that wasn't really my genre I liked. I didn't really like a lot of trap music in a way. But with my, recent, I guess, transition, if you will, my, opening horizons of music, I've actually grown to like, the music. I'm saying? It's good. It's good. It's good stuff. It's fun. That's what it is, to me, really. That it's a fun genre just to listen to, but not really take so seriously, and not really take like, oh, there's some hidden message. Like, it's not that. It's just fun music. And to be honest, that's what I went to this album going into, is that I'm thinking of, oh, the album tells culture. It's got to be something, gonna have some reflective nature of society right now. It's gonna have, really deep and in-depth messages about what's going on in the world right now and all stuff like that. But really, that's the lens I went into it, and that's not the lens you really should. And maybe that's me being just dumb and naive, honestly, because I don't know why anyone would go into a Migos album looking for those things, like looking for a deeper meaning, looking for a deeper narrative, a deeper meaning, all that stuff like that, right? That was just what I guess I was going into it, subconsciously. I wasn't really, thinking of like, okay, yeah, this is a Migos album. This isn't gonna be like a, like a Kanye West, or this isn't, any artist that's for real, like, gonna be raw and gonna, say it how it is. This is just a fun album. And so at first, going in, with that state of mind, I had a lot of issues with the album personally. I felt that it was very repetitive, and a lot of things that they were doing the same thing, they were sounding the same. And then overall, through discussing with other peers, really, it's that, like, they're like, hey, listen, Migos is a style, like that's just how it is, like this is how they do their music, right? And that's not a bad thing per se. That's not really a negative thing. A lot of people would think that, oh, for an album being repetitive, it's a bad thing. And that's what I've even, critiqued albums in the past for being too repetitive. But it's a different type of repetitive. It's more of like, this is Migos' style of music, rather than it being the exact same thing as what I used to complain about in other albums in the past that I reviewed. Just to get in some logistics of the album, it is 13 songs, and this album runs just under an hour, 58 minutes, so it's pretty much a nice sized album here. It's not anything crazy, it's not anything too short like an EP. It's that nice middle range that I like personally, where you can get through this album in maybe a play or through when you're going to school and back, or you're going to work and back. You can easily consume this entire album in one sitting if you want to. And really, the interesting thing I find here, right, in this album, right, after going through it for the past few days, is that we tend to see albums that have waves. I say that a lot in my reviews. There are albums that have really good parts in the album and really bad parts. It slopes up and down. That's a common thing we have here, with albums overall, right? But when we go to this one, I realized that, like, this album really doesn't have a slope. This album doesn't have, waves or anything like that. It's constant velocity. There goes my physics. Oh my God, there goes my physics. But it has a constant velocity, throughout the entire album. It's very much a consistent sounding, and it's good. It's good. Now, first off here, we got track 1, which has DJ Khaled, because come on, really, guys? DJ Khaled, how do you hate the man? How do you hate him? How do you not get hype hearing his name? And he's like straight up bashing, he is bashing the fuck boys, like, it is crazy, DJ Khaled goes off on the beat in this one. And then we got T-Shirt, which is obviously around, the realms of Twitter, and the overall, talk of this album is that T-Shirt is one of the standout tracks of this album. It's definitely going to be a banger, much like Goosebumps was for Burst in the Trap for Travis Scott and stuff like that. This is definitely the key mark song to this entire album, I feel. It's definitely going to be track 2, T-Shirt. But then we move on to Call Casting, and with Call Casting, it's very much a fun type of instrumental to it, and that's something that, it kind of caught me off guard, because I didn't realize, how he would change, like they would change the pace from being like a very much of a trap to a feel to it, to more of a little bit more of a fun track we have here in Call Casting. I definitely liked Call Casting. And then of course we got a track for Bad and Bougie, acclaimed by Donald Glover himself on stage. Everyone knows about Bad and Bougie, definitely. And I feel like, I would complain, back in the past, how I wouldn't like the big hit of an album that was to promote the album be in the middle, right? I wouldn't like that. But overall, like, this is pretty much early enough where it fits in the flow of the other tracks around it, so I feel like it's fine personally. And hey, you know, end of the day, it's Bad and Bougie, so I mean, come on, like how are you gonna complain? I mean, it's Bad and Bougie. And then we got Get Right With You, which is a nice, oh my god, this song is so addictive and sometimes, but the next track after that is even more addictive. It's Slippery with Gucci Mane. Slippery is arguably, you know, as of maybe 2 days ago, probably my favorite track on this entire album. You know, there is another track that we're gonna get to in a little bit, but I feel like Slippery is such a that's such a good like club banger. I don't know what's wrong with me, but that song is impeccable. Then we got Big on Big, What the Price, you know, all that ass, I'm saying, Deads, and you know, those tracks are good, but you know, it doesn't really stand up to the beginning of the track. So I guess you could say in a way there are waves in the album, but I personally, you know, think that there isn't, just because those tracks are still good. They're just not as memorable, not as, you know, catchy as the beginning half of the album. And then we get to Travis Scott. Now we get to Travis Scott here on Kelly Price. That song's good. That song's good, and not just because Travis Scott. You know, I'm beginning to feel that, you know, I'm a little more biased in the same way I'm biased towards Drake to Travis Scott. I think I'm getting a little biased towards Travis Scott as well. But you know, beside the point, I definitely do like Kelly Price. You know, it's definitely one of the top ones for me. And then we got my, you know, from the first listening through, from maybe listen to from 1 to 3, maybe, you know, like my first 3 times going through the entire album, I definitely liked Out Your Way a lot. It has a nice vibe to it. It's very much kind of like an R&B-esque type of trap song to it, where it kind of feels a lot like a P&D-esque song, you know, something that like he would make, but it's very much, you know, like a low-key, you know, trap type of song to it, and it is very, very good in my opinion. It's very awesome. It's a very nice feel to it. It's got nice vibes, obviously, like I said before, and this is definitely going to rank in the top like 5 for me personally. And the interesting thing here is that, you know, with this album, right, I was talking to a lot of people, and I, you know, this morning I made a list to my friends, right? I was like, hey, listen, like, out of culture, I like this is, and there's probably like missing maybe 3 or 4 tracks on them on my list. Like, the majority of this album is straight up bangers. Yo, it's good stuff, man. And you know, and to really, you know, and like a lot of times throughout listening to this album, I reflected on the title, right? It was like, why is this called Culture? You know, why is this called you know, the way it is? Why did they title the album Culture, right? And I, you know, took a lot of thought to that, you know, mainly for no reason, you know, just because, like I said before, you can't really take a Migos album too seriously, you know, like, you're not supposed to take it too seriously, you know what I'm saying? But like, when I'm thinking about the album title Culture, right, I thought, you know, that the reason why they titled it that way is because when you go through the entire album, right, you just feel what we feel. You know, we feel the age demographic of 18 to like 25, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all have that same, you know, type of realm. We live on Twitter, you know, where we tweet and shit like that. We go crazy, whatever. And like, that's just, it's fitting for us. It's fitting for that demographic. So I definitely feel like this is skewed towards that range, you know, and especially if you're, you know, like if you're in college, dude, like you understand this album, you know what I'm saying? Like, you totally get it, right? But I feel like, you know, obviously if you're a little bit younger, if you're a bit older, you're not going to get this, you know, unless you're a niche person, whatever. Like, you know, if you're something that's like an outlier, if you will. But overall, this album screams and is really much a poster board for the demographic of the college student. Yeah, man, there's not a lot to say about this album. You know, I definitely did enjoy my time with it. I definitely did enjoy my listening to it, and I would advise you check it out, man. You know, a lot of people, you know, don't like trap. I understand that, but you know, if you are kind of on the fence, definitely check out this album by Migos. They did a great job, and hopefully they replace Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl. You can check out my video on that down in my other videos on my channel. Definitely check it out. And yeah, I mean, like, that's all I got to say. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Alex and Appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.